Days ago, the Luxembourgish parliament unanimously passed a resolution calling on the government not to support the deepening of cooperation between Azerbaijan and the European Union until all the Armenian prisoners of war illegally detained in Azerbaijan are released and repatriated. This is not the first step by Luxembourg to restrain Baku. It was one of the few countries of Europe that expressed a clear position during the Second Artsakh war, describing it as Azerbaijani aggression supported by Turkey. Today I will talk to the member of the Luxembourgish parliament, Fernand Kartheiser, about the resolution, the impact it can have on the existing situation, and the latest escalation along the border between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Good day, Mr. Kartheiser. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, madam, and I'm very pleased and honored to be your guest today.
Mr. Kartheiser, months ago, the importance of European intervention in restraining Baku was emphasized, and the need to impose sanctions against Azerbaijan was also discussed in Luxembourg. Now, in the light, especially in the light of the recent Azerbaijani aggression in the sovereign territory of Armenia, don't you think it's time for the international community to shift from calls to practical steps to restrain Baku, which grossly violates the UN Charter and international law?
Yes, madam, I think that is the case, but you mentioned yourself that is a matter of the UN Charter, and in international relations, the organ that is primarily responsible for maintaining and also for re-establishing international peace and security is, of course, the United Nations Security Council. Now, unfortunately, over the last years, I must say, the Security Council has not often been able to find consensus on important issues. Nevertheless, as concerns Azerbaijan, I think that there's growing awareness in international relations, in international organizations also, that this kind of behavior cannot be tolerated anymore. And I think there's a fatigue also with Azerbaijan and a general wish in many states to put a clear signal and to call Azerbaijan to stop that sort of behavior. So I'm basically optimistic that there will be a change of mind.
Mr. Kartheiser, months ago you imposed clear questions to the President of Luxembourgish Parliament about the fate of our prisoners of war and civilians kept in Azerbaijan, also the cases of torture and inhuman treatment towards them. What do we have for now, Mr. Kartheiser? Has the Luxembourgish Parliament taken any concrete steps regarding this issue? This is quite a sensitive topic for us, considering also the fact that as a result of the latest Azerbaijani aggression, 13 Armenian servicemen were captured by Azerbaijani forces. Another 24 servicemen have gone missing, and their fate remains unknown.
Yes, I would answer, madam, that this is not only an issue for Armenia, but it is basically an issue for mankind, because torture cannot be accepted, and we are deeply worried by the kind of treatment that is given by Azerbaijan to prisoners, both military and, as far as we know, also civilian persons that are in custody in Azerbaijan. So this is a major humanitarian issue. Now, Luxembourg, of course, as you know, and as everybody knows, is extremely small, but that does not mean that it has no way of influencing things, because it is very active in a number of international organizations, such as the European Union, the Council of Europe, and others. In the United Nations framework, Luxembourg has recently been elected to the United Nations Human Rights Council, so that again is a possibility for us to intervene in favor of the Armenian people that are still in custody in Azerbaijan, as you mentioned, illegally so, and also in order to plead for the Azerbaijani people themselves, who are also suffering for massive human rights violations in their own country. So I'm very glad that you asked the question, because it gives to us the possibility to say that we are in deep solidarity with Armenia and with all the people who are directly concerned. They should not lose hope. I think there's a lot of interest in the international community to help them.
Mr. Kartheiser, and what was the reaction to the aggression against Armenia in Luxembourg? Are the public and political circles sufficiently aware of Azerbaijani actions?
No, the public certainly not. You know, one has to be realistic in those issues. I mean, the general public in Western Europe is not so much aware of what happens in your region in the world. It is something that is generally considered far away. It is something that most people, well, have never heard of, to be quite frank. So I think that there's a responsibility for us politicians and also for journalists to draw the attention of the general public to those issues. In truth, it is not far away. You are in a neighboring region. The European Union has an Eastern Partnership with your region. So it is up to us to draw the attention of the people to those situations and to take actions. And I think it is a very honorable part of our life as politicians, just in order to extend our feelings and our help to those people who are not living far away and who really are in need of support. And I think that is, for the time being, certainly the case of Armenia.
And what steps are needed to take in this regard to raise awareness in Luxembourg?
Well, that is a matter of course, parliamentary action. We have to raise the subject in Parliament again and again in order to encourage the government to take action. And I think that we are quite successful in this, and also to help journalists to get information and to put it really also in the news. I would like to underline that you have a very active ambassador in that regard here, and also an very active honorary consul. They are both doing an excellent work, and we have an Armenian community also in Luxembourg, which is also active in this field. So I think that there are a number of elements that help drawing the attention of the general public to the problems that we're experiencing right now.
Mr. Kartheiser, and let's talk about Turkey. According to the expert estimate, the involvement of terrorists and the support of Turkey significantly affected the balance of power and the outcome of the war. And this war was different. It was more a war of new technologies and unmanned aerial vehicles. So as Luxembourg is a member of NATO, what's your country's view regarding such a policy, a destabilizing policy of Turkey that extends from the Eastern Mediterranean to Artsakh, from Libya to Syria, and Turkey now is a member of NATO and has become the #1 destabilizer of the region.
Yes. Well, that is, of course, a very, very important issue, which is of strategic interest, not only for your region, but actually for the whole of Europe, given that Turkey has a very important strategic position and, of course, also a strong economy. It is an important country, but it is isolating itself and at a growing speed, I must say. Turkey is a difficult neighbor. Turkey has not only had this involvement now in the war in Artsakh, but it has also a threatening attitude towards EU member states, towards Greece. It occupies a large part of the territory of Cyprus. It is aggressive towards the Kurdish population. It has territorial ambitions clearly in Syria. So it is a problem. And I think that Turkey has put an end to its accession process to the European Union. I think that nobody is supporting that anymore with a perspective of any success. And also the voices are growing in NATO that we should re-examine the kind of relationship within the alliance that we have with Turkey. We cannot support in any way that kind of political attitude that President Erdogan has developed over the last years. And as I mentioned, Turkey unfortunately is isolating itself, and it is becoming itself a subject and object of international criticism. So again, I must say that the fact that we are starting to criticize Turkey more and more is also a factor that indirectly is going to help Armenia in its conflict with Azerbaijan.
And Mr. Kartheiser, within last year, many facts have been published about the cases of destroying Armenian traces in a number of Artsakh regions that are now under the control of Azerbaijan. I'm talking about Armenian cultural and historical monuments, cemeteries, and in this respect, the Azerbaijani actions are somewhat similar to the way ISIS operates in the Middle East. Have you ever been involved in this topic? Do you think such actions are acceptable in case when Azerbaijan is a member of the Council of Europe, OSCE, the EU Eastern Partnership?
Well, the answer is clearly no. This kind of behavior is not acceptable. We have a number of international conventions which are considered binding by the whole of humanity, basically. Especially the Geneva Conventions and a number of other international instruments that regulate what we call the jus in bello, the law in war. And that kind of international conventions are very clear. So the destruction of cultural goods and repopulation of areas, all these actions are forbidden in international law, and they're going to be treated like this. So yes, unfortunately, we witness such actions by Azerbaijan for the moment, but they should not go unpunished. And I think it is something that the whole international community should be interested in, because the values that are at stake are values for the whole humanity. There are many important also cultural sites that are endangered. So it is not only a matter that is going to be of interest to Armenia, but again, I would say it's something that is very close to all of our hearts, and we are following this closely.
And Mr. Kartheiser, talking about Armenia-Luxembourg relations, what opportunities do you see in the development of bilateral cooperation, and whether certain initiatives can be expected in the near future?
Yes, well, I had already mentioned that you have a very, very active ambassador to Luxembourg, and he's taking a number of initiatives, and we're expecting, for instance, the visit of your foreign minister in our country, which we're very much looking forward to. I think especially in those times, it is important to have those contacts among friends and to discuss how we can address the issues together, many of the issues that you have also raised in your questions. So yes, there are a number of initiatives, and of course, we are also going to reinforce economic and cultural cooperation. And you mentioned in several of your questions how important it is to raise the awareness of Armenia and also in our public opinion in general. And I think that especially the cultural avenue is going to be a very, very good way to do this.
Thanks for the interview, Mr. Kartheiser.
Thank you for inviting me, madam. It was really a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Today I was talking to the member of the Luxembourgish Parliament, Fernand Kartheiser, about the resolution on the repatriation of Armenian prisoners of war and the latest escalation along the border between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Thanks for watching us.